What's up, guys? Welcome back to Book 5, the channel that helps you live a more holistic life. And today we want to examine if life has lost value. Has life lost value? Now, of course, what brung me to this topic was a post that was on Facebook where people was discussing new plan B options. You know, the contraceptive, the emergency contraceptive after you have had unprotected intercourse that may lead to pregnancy. And I just looked at it and was like, wow, man, where society is right now. The mental trajectory of society and how we are behaving. Could this be detrimental to the sustaining of future life, right? And so we want to get into this. Has life lost value? Well, I don't know if life has lost value, but there are tweets like this that can call into question if that is indeed the case. Now, this says, this is from Nico Thomas. I'm not too sure who this person is. I just came across this. Again, this is not a knock on Nico or Neko. This is not a knock on anybody within these comment sections or anything. Okay, so this was on Twitter. I think I said Facebook earlier, but it's on Twitter. And it says, Costco sells the morning after pill for $7.69. And you don't have to be a member to use their pharmacy. Someone comments down here, Walmart has My Way brand for $11.69 if you can't go get to Costco in time. Okay, so they're on here really discussing, the cheapest and easiest way to avoid being pregnant. Now, you may say, well, what's wrong with that? You should not have children irresponsibly out here. Well, I would say you shouldn't be having intercourse irresponsibly out here, right? Because it leads to other problems, other issues and decays other than bastard children running around. But let's just dive deeper, right? The first commandment that was given to us in the Bible, the Holy Bible, was to be fruitful and multiply. Now, if you're one of the people who reject the Bible and say, well, I don't believe in the Bible anyway. All right, well, let's just use our common sense. We are here from the act of multiplication, okay? Our grandparents were here. You are here. Our children, your future children, and every generation for thousands of years before us are here for multiplication. Now, if we have this thing where we fear or we are against, or we move into a place where multiplication is not on the priority list, then what happens? Ultimately, what happens? All right. And you have to know that your contribution to this earth is in largely part to what you produce and reproduce. Okay, that is being children as well. So let's read this again. Costco sells the morning after pill for $7.69. Okay, so we are looking at the financial price of what these things are. We don't know the manufacturers who make this. We don't know if this is good for the body of the female reproductive organs. After, all we know is that it's cheap and it's easy to get, right? And our ultimate goal of avoiding pregnancy is there. So again, has life lost value? Have we boiled it down to $7.69? Okay, to avoid bringing in or ushering in a new generation. Why is this important? Right? It's important for the further progress of humanity. And what we notice now, that there is a case can be made that there is an assault on humanity as it stands in its origin form. But we'll get to that later. Let's take a look at this article here. This is by John Berger. It was published on what does it say? May 24th, 2021, and it was updated on May 31st, 2021. And it says, fertility rates are in a downward spiral, say experts. Just a few years, maybe even a couple decades ago, countries like Japan and Spain would have been standouts in the talk about fertility rates. Only a few nations around the world were cited as places where the rates did not even rise to replacement level. Little by little, nations began to realize that falling fertility rates were not good news. In spite of decades of warnings, the world's rising population, reaching 6 billion in 1999 and standing about 7.8 billion today, threatened the environment and even the future of humanity itself. Now, experts are beginning to warn of dire consequences if the fertility rate continues to decline, not only in those standout countries, but around the world. Here's where it gets interesting. Whereas declining birth rates were once seen as a sign of a nation's progress, developed countries now view them through the lens of an existential crisis, likely to halt economic transformation and pave the way for increased human suffering and civilized sclerosis, writes Joseph Sunday, an associate editor and writer for the Action Institute. Okay, so we see that we are headed for, some countries see it through the lens of an existential crisis. So while there is an undercurrent going on of the loss of life, just naturally people are not getting together to produce as many children as they once did. We also have people participating in really our own demise. Really, it's really our own demise. Who benefits from this? Are the people who are spending the $7.69 at Costco benefiting from this? Maybe short term they're benefiting from it, but in the long term they're not benefiting from it. Nobody's going to benefit from it. And you got to ask yourself, who benefits from this? Somebody has to benefit, other than the pharmaceutical companies who are going to rake in billions upon billions of dollars from people who choose to use these options. But who benefits from it in the long run? Is there an agenda on the undercurrent that wants people to stop producing, especially people of certain communities? Okay, the African American community being one of them. We got to understand that we are moving into a time of transhumanism, where these people really want to merge technology and biology together. And one of the concepts that they're working on is transporting the consciousness of a human being into another host, a mechanical host that doesn't have the downsides of human body deterioration. So these people would like to control who is in humanity, because the less minds that they have to worry about transferring into whatever they believe they can transfer it into, the better. And whose minds will it be? Will it be the minds of the people that are gung-ho to go to Costco for $7.69 and take care of their irresponsible behaviors? I don't know. Maybe they do get a chance to get their mind, get their consciousness put in one of these new forms of humans, but maybe not. Okay, let's look at it. Will it be these people who are considered for consciousness transplant? Let's look at it. Let's just look at some of these comments based off that post. It says, "Well, I still got pregnant." Let's see what that. It say, "Wow, it's gotten a lot cheaper. That's good." And it says here, Kimberly Marie says, "I appreciate this. Can't let these broke boys get me." Well, the broke boys already got you in the bed. Whether or not you have the children with them or not, they already got you. So I don't know what that means. But you shouldn't be putting yourself in a position where procreation with a broke boy may occur, and you're on a post looking at the cheapest form of Plan B. So I don't know, man. And right down here, it says, everybody about to get pregnant. Yep. And then go run to Costco, Walmart, or wherever it is and get rid of it. "These are irresponsible whores," Monica Anthony says. "But I needed the info as I am one too." Now, I'm not judging any of these people on here. All I'm saying is that from an observational standpoint, being irresponsible and having this outlook on life really shows that society is devaluing humanity, devaluing life. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And when the transition or the merging of biotech happens, are these the people that are going to be first choice? I don't think so. I don't think these are the people who are going to be first choice. I don't think I'm a person that's going to be first choice. But what I'm saying is there is somebody has a incentive of pushing this out to people, giving people these options to further the decline of fertility or these demographic winters, and especially in those communities who are known to be fertile. What we'll do is we'll make a joke out of it, and we'll look at the laughing emojis. Just look at them. It's a bunch of laughing emojis. It's funny, right? It's funny until it's not funny. Okay. Has life lost its value? I don't know. AC Andre Shack says is $10 on Amazon for y'all. For if y'all care about that, it's $10 on Amazon. So man, this is, I don't know. What do y'all think about this? This is crazy to me. This is crazy. But this backs up the statistics. So this backs up the statistics, and here we are on the CDC's abortion surveillance system, and we read right here. It says in 2019, 629,898 legal induced abortions were reported to the CDC. It says here that from 2010 to 2019, the number, rate, and ratio of reported abortions decreased 18%, 21%, and 13% respectively. However, compared with 2018 and 2019, the total number increased. Right, so you have these years where people were up and people were down, but in totality, 629,000 plus people were going to get self-induced abortions. It says similarly to previous years, in 2019, women in their 20s accounted for the majority of abortions, from 56.9%. The majority of abortions in 2019 took place early in gestation, so early on in the pregnancy. So you see these women in their most fertile years, 20 somethings, and are out here having intercourse unprotected, and then their solution is to go and terminate the pregnancy or jump the gun and go to Costco and stop it. And a lot of these things have long-term consequences that are unseen, right? A lot of these birth control methods. All you got to do is go look up the history of Planned Parenthood, man. This is an agenda that has been going on for a while. So again, there is an incentive to keep you to keep the numbers down, So who benefits from the thought processes of taking your own demise into your own hands and being irresponsible with your body choices and avoiding responsibility at all cost and having fewer children and all of these things? Who benefits from this? Individual communities do not benefit from this. They don't because it goes against First Commandment: be fruitful and multiply. So the things that we think are better, or that we know are better, and the things that we seen have worked through multiple generations, we have up and decided that it's no longer feasible for us to do that. And we don't have any evidence to suggest why it is not feasible for us to do that. Any concrete evidence. So we have this article that says, "Who's afraid of transhumanism? We all should be," by John Conley. And this was September 5th, 2017. So a little bit older, but we've come further, huh? It is difficult to define, but it's a growing movement. Transhumanism has its own central organization, its own demographic base, even its own political formation. See, this goes back to what I was saying. It says that transhumanism movement has its own demographic base. So when I said, they're looking at transporting the consciousness, the minds of people into bodies and vehicles that will last longer than the human biological framework. You think that the people on Twitter, that's who they're going to say, "Oh yeah, let's preserve their consciousness"? No, they want you to be gone. They want you to stop reproducing. Look, you can also look up articles of designer babies. Why design a baby when you can make one? Oh, who's going to be doing the designing? Who's going to be in control of the designing? Who's going to be the gatekeeper of who can design and who can't design? So we run around laughing and joking because we think that it's benefiting us, in which it may be in the short term, but in the long term, in the mid term, it's killing you softly. It's killing you softly, and that's just my observation. Now, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do with their life, because they can do whatever they want to do and whatever makes them happy. What I'm saying is, from an observational standpoint, this is hurting humanity, right? Let's read on. On one level, the movement goals appear benign. One of its key documents, the Principles of Extrophy, sums up the basic values of transhumanism: perpetual progress, self-transformation, practical optimism, intelligent technology, open society, self-direction, and rational thinking. The local Rotary Club would not object, right? So then they're going to use a bunch of words and phrases that the average person is not going to understand, doesn't care about, right? So for you to know that there's an agenda for you to go out to Costco and order on Amazon and Walmart and go down to your local abortion clinic and behave and do these things is going to be foreign to you if somebody say that, and you might even take offense to it. But the fundamental ambition of transhumanism is more problematic. Its architectures champion a use of technology to accelerate the evolution of humanity so radically that at the end of the process, humanity as such would disappear. right? So there are people who want the way that humans are now to be gone, and they cannot do it single-handedly. So they empower you to do it to yourself. They empower you to do it to yourself. And then we'll put a bunch of laughing emojis and likes and hearts and all of this, and we'll goof off about it, and especially in our community. Well, I could tell you this, that in other communities, they're not taking this lightly. But you look in our community, and it's a joke, and it's funny, right? Because we got to find a joke in everything. Let's continue reading. A superior post-human being would emerge. According to Wikipedia, transhumanism is the intellectual and cultural movement that affirms the possibility and desirability of fundamentally improving the human condition through applied reason, especially by developing and making widely available knowledge to eliminate aging and to greatly enhance human intellectual, physical, and psychological capacities. So if they want to enhance human intellectual and psychological capacities, what will they do to the people they find intellectually inferior, who have psychological hangups, like the need to avoid responsibility or take responsibility of oneself and body? They will eliminate. They are going to eliminate. They are going to make it a way for you to eliminate yourself. And that's why tweets like the one that we read are not funny. That's why tweets that like the one we read are not helpful. Okay, let's continue reading. It says, from its inception, I'm right here on this paragraph, and y'all can see it. From its inception, the abolition of human death and aging has been one of the goals of transhumanism, as its engineers and new being freed from the biological constraints of the current human condition. Okay. The very concept of a human nature disappears in much of transhumanist literature. The human body is dismissed as something of secondary and accidental importance. The human body is dismissed as something of secondary and accidental importance. Isn't that what Plan B pills are for? If you have an accident, oops, I'm pregnant, run, get the Plan B. Destroy the human body that could develop from that. If the Plan B doesn't work, we have abortion clinics where you can come down. It's pro-choice, right? To destroy the human body. Let me read that again. The very concept of human nature disappears in much transhumanist literature. The human body is dismissed as something of secondary, accidental importance. Mr. Moore argues that the self has to be insatiated in some physical medium, but not necessarily one that is biologically human or biological at all. Okay, so they looking for ways to put the consciousness in robots, and it will not be the consciousness of silly Negroes or poor-minded, ignorant people who believe that destroying life is funny. So, again, we just want to observe here and think about things in the context of the future and how that may or may not be detrimental to us, right? And how we can live our lives to help forward the progress of the things that are that want to make us regress or degress, right? Or digress. It's really going to be up to the individual to determine what value life has, and that could be in many aspects. All right, so has life lost value? I believe it has. I believe life has definitely lost value, but is life still valuable? Absolutely, right? Absolutely, life is still valuable and it's worth preserving, right? And when we see things like these tweets, it shouldn't be met with jolly and laughter. Now, I got a kick out of it momentarily, but I just mean, on a long-term basis, these are serious matters. So anyway, that's all we got right now on book 5, the place, the channel where we want to help you have a more holistic life. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.